Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS-FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS-FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. I know the Browns have been a bit of a roller coaster in recent years. We've seen the highs, like that incredible playoff run a few seasons back, and the lows, especially at the quarterback position, which has been a constant source of debate and frustration for Browns fans. But this offseason, something really interesting happened, something that could set the tone for the next chapter of Cleveland Browns football. And honestly, it's got everyone talking. It's about the quarterback situation, yeah, but more than that, it's about the potential for a seismic shift within the AFC North, one that could redefine the division's power dynamics for years to come. So let's set the scene. Heading into the 2025 NFL Draft, the Browns found themselves in a bit of a limbo when it came to their quarterback room. They had recently made some moves, trading for Kenny Pickett, the young quarterback out of Pitt who showed flashes of promise during his rookie season. Pickett, while still developing, seemed like a solid option, someone with potential but not necessarily a proven leader yet. Alongside him, Cleveland also added Joe Flacco, the veteran quarterback with an extensive career that spans over a decade in the league. Flacco, a Super Bowl MVP, is known for his calmness under pressure and his ability to deliver in clutch moments. But he's also an aging player, and everyone knew his window was closing. Now, here's where things get a little wild. Instead of going into the draft with a clear-cut choice, Cleveland decided to do something bold. They didn't just pick one quarterback, they ended up drafting not just one, but two young signal callers. The first was Shedeur Sanders, a name that's been making waves in college football and now seemingly in the NFL. Sanders, the son of legendary Deion Sanders, is a talent with a ton of potential. He's known for his arm strength, mobility, and football intelligence, but more than that, he's a guy who's eager to prove himself at the highest level. His journey to the NFL hasn't been easy, but his determination is obvious. He's fighting tooth and nail to earn that QB1 spot, and from what we're seeing in practice, he's not backing down. Sanders has been doing everything possible to stand out, not just with his physical skills, but with his mindset. He's hungry, as he's often said, "I'm always hungry," and that hunger is what separates the good from the great in this league. He's not just trying to be a capable backup or a game manager, he wants to be the franchise quarterback. And he's fully aware that to do that, he has to learn from the best, especially someone like Joe Flacco. During an interview with Jeff Skettle on X, Shedeur made it clear that he's soaking up every bit of advice Flacco has to offer. He said, "I'd be a fool not to get insight from somebody that's had success over all the years that he's had." That's the kind of mindset you want from a young quarterback, humble, eager to learn, and willing to listen. And here's an interesting twist. Not every veteran player in the league is so generous with their mentorship, but Joe Flacco has always been known as a guy who takes pride in being a role model. Throughout his career, he's been seen as someone who leads by example and offers guidance to younger players when they seek it. Now, with Flacco's NFL days potentially numbered, his contract might be his last big deal. The Browns could be looking at him as more than just a stopgap. They might see him as a mentor, a leader in the locker room who can help shape the next generation of Browns quarterbacks. It's worth noting that Cleveland's quarterback situation has been anything but stable over the past decade. We've seen a carousel of names filling the starting role: Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum, Jacoby Brissett, and others. Yet none have truly established a long-term solution. The Browns have been looking for that franchise guy, that guy who can consistently lead this team deep into the playoffs, and ideally, to a Super Bowl. With the addition of Shedeur Sanders and the veteran presence of Flacco, the team might have a unique opportunity to develop a young star while still having a reliable veteran to guide him through the rough patches. But it's not just about individual talent. It's about what this signals to the rest of the division and the league. The AFC North has been a tough division for a while now, with the Ravens and Bengals consistently competing at a high level, and the Steelers always lurking with a solid defense and a disciplined approach. The Browns, historically, have been a team with potential, but lacked the consistency and stability at quarterback to really challenge those rivals. But if Sanders develops as many believe he can, and Flacco continues to be a steady influence, Cleveland could be on the verge of a new era, one where they're no longer just trying to compete, but genuinely contending for division titles and playoff success. Now, you might be wondering about the specifics of Sanders' game and what he brings to the table. Well, he's got a strong arm, a natural ability to extend plays with his legs, and a football IQ that's often compared to some of the top young quarterbacks in the league. He's still raw in some aspects, especially when it comes to reading defenses and making quick decisions under pressure, but that's part of the development process. The Browns coaching staff, led by their offensive coordinators and quarterback coaches, will have their hands full refining his skills over the coming months. But having a veteran like Flacco in the room, someone who's been through the highs and lows of NFL life, is invaluable. And let's not forget the broader context here. Cleveland has been trying to establish a winning culture for years. They've had flashes of brilliance, like that playoff run in 2020, where Baker Mayfield led a surprising charge, but consistency has eluded them. The quarterback position has often been the Achilles heel. Now, with this new approach, drafting two young quarterbacks and mentoring them simultaneously, it's almost like Cleveland is planting a seed for something bigger. If Sanders can develop quickly, if Flacco can pass on his wisdom, the Browns might just find their long-term answer at quarterback sooner rather than later. Of course, there are hurdles ahead. Shedeur Sanders still has a lot to learn, and the NFL is a brutal league where every mistake is magnified. The pressure to perform early can be overwhelming, especially for a young player stepping into a franchise with passionate fans who demand excellence. But the Browns have shown a willingness to invest in their future, and this strategy of developing young talent while keeping a steady veteran in Flacco's mold could pay huge dividends down the line. They're building not just a team for this season, but a foundation for sustained success. Looking ahead, the expectations are high but tempered with patience. Browns fans are eager to see improvements, especially at the quarterback position, because that's been the missing piece for so long. If Sanders can harness his talent, learn from Flacco, and adapt quickly to the NFL game, Cleveland might be looking at a quarterback who can lift the entire franchise to new heights. The AFC North will definitely be watching, because a shift in power in this division could have ripple effects across the league. The Ravens and Bengals, two of the most formidable teams in recent years, might find themselves facing a new challenger that's eager to rise. So, in the grand scheme of things, what does all this mean for the Browns? It's a shot at redemption, a chance to finally settle the quarterback question for good. It's also a sign that Cleveland isn't content with just being a playoff team. They want to be champions. The blend of youth and experience, the hunger and the wisdom, the desire to win now but build for the future. This is what makes the Browns' story so compelling right now. We're witnessing the early stages of what could be a transformative period for this franchise, and as fans, we have front row seats to every twist and turn. And as we look at the broader picture, it's fascinating to see how this strategy aligns with the trends in the league. More teams are recognizing that developing young quarterbacks is a long-term investment, and having a veteran mentor can accelerate that growth. The Browns are clearly embracing this model, and if it pays off, they could set a new standard in the AFC North and beyond. Imagine a Cleveland team that finally finds stability at quarterback, ready to challenge the Patriots, Chiefs, or Bills in the postseason. That's the vision many fans are holding onto right now. And let's talk about the division rivals for a moment. The Ravens, with Lamar Jackson's recent contract extension, are still a force to reckon with, especially with their dynamic offense and stout defense. The Bengals, led by Joe Burrow, continue to be a playoff mainstay, and the Steelers, with their defense and a steady quarterback in Kenny Pickett, remain competitive. But the Browns' latest moves suggest they're not just trying to catch up, they're positioning themselves to leap forward. The potential development of Shedeur Sanders, with Flacco's mentorship, could be the spark that ignites this team into genuine contenders. We've also got to consider the cultural shift happening inside the Browns organization. They're emphasizing youth, learning, and resilience. It's about building a team that's not only talented, but also hungry and eager to prove themselves. That kind of mindset can be infectious, and it might just be what Cleveland needs to finally break through the stagnation that's held them back for so long. The Browns have always had the talent, great defenses, solid offensive linemen, and playmakers on both sides of the ball. But the quarterback position has been the missing piece, the piece that can turn a good team into a great one. Now, looking at the bigger picture, what can Browns fans realistically expect in the upcoming season? Well, it's probably too early to say if this is going to translate into a deep playoff run, but the signs are promising. The coaching staff is clearly invested in the development of their young quarterbacks, and the veteran presence of Flacco provides a stability that the team desperately needs. If Sanders can make steady progress, if he can learn to read defenses faster, make smarter decisions, and showcase his arm talent in real game situations, then Cleveland's offense could take a significant step forward. And with that, the team's chances of competing in the AFC North increase exponentially. It's also worth mentioning that the Browns' defense, which has often been their backbone, is still among the league's best. They have playmakers at linebacker and in the secondary, and if the offense can finally find consistency, Cleveland could become one of those teams nobody wants to face come January. The playoff picture is always crowded, but with this quarterback development plan, the Browns are planting seeds for a future where they're not just participants but serious contenders. In essence, what we're witnessing right now is a franchise in transition. Cleveland isn't just patching holes, they're trying to lay a foundation for sustained success. The decision to invest in young talent while leveraging veteran mentorship is bold, but it's also smart.